Good afternoon. My name is Susan Patterson. Today we are here to talk about this very extremely long assignment that we had to do this week. One thing that we discussed here, we watched a Zoom video or some type of video that you zoomed in on the different parts of the universe. I thought it was pretty neat. I shared it with the students at school, and they played with it off and on and thought it was just one of the neatest things. I picked the whole universe because I never really thought of it as being that big. I mean, you hear about it, you see TV shows, but oh my goodness, it was just unbelievably big. And it made me want to pay attention more when I was watching different things on TV about different shows about, outer space. For the most part, in number one here, we were talking about the speeds of different body movements. You assume that if you're standing still, you're not actually moving, but in reality, you are a lot faster than what I thought. When I first began, I thought, well, okay, if the Earth moves 1,037 miles an hour, I guess that's how fast I'm moving. No, not quite. We're moving a lot quicker than that. 7,506,537 miles an hour. Gee, that's a lot. As you can see here in these charts, that the local group speed is very significant. That's over here. And now we don't have an extreme amount of time. But I did say down here that it would not matter if you were standing still on the equator or sitting at a stoplight in Boston, you would still be moving the same. Okay, moving on to section number 2. This one was a good one. I liked this one a lot. This is something that politicians do to each other. I'm sure mostly intentional. Businesses do with their competition. We offer this, so much more. They do not. But they show you these charts, and they are very, very misleading. It looks like a lot more people were unemployed during the Clinton years than in the Bush years, when in reality they were not. The further you go with your decimals back, I think is what makes the bigger gap. And I'm sure that's why they did it this way. Also, not starting at 0 is a big factor that I definitely will pay attention to from now on. The bowling scores. Emily's good. She's not that much better, as you can see in our second chart right here. These charts, same subject, is misleading. You think Cartera did an equal share. Obviously, they did not. They did the least. In my report, I put down that stores are bad about the percentage off game, and they get you on misleading ads. As I've explained here, they take 25 when they're advertising merchandise as being 75% off. They're not saying it's off the original price. First, they take it 50% off, and then they take an additional 25% off that 50% off. What is left, and which does not equal 75% in dollars. What should be a $25 item, you pay $37.50 for. This, like I wrote in my report, they like to do this, especially at holiday times, seasonal stuff, a percentage off, when they know that you're going to buy a lot of things, and it's very hard to keep track of. So be aware of your sales, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, number 3. I also liked number 3 a lot because I was very curious. I Googled it. I never thought to use the Google microphone until I started this class, and I see you do it. And I thought, well, what the heck? Why have I not ever done that? So now I microphone everything. And I looked, and they said that as of in February of 2018, there were 327.16 million Americans. Which actually is pretty close here. I'm not exactly sure how we got 206.1 million. I'm going to have to go back and check on that. But I did wonder where they got this number from. Does this include anyone living in the United States, strictly U.S. citizens? Did they get the information from the healthcare industry? Where this actually came from? I do know, it's about health and diseases. But what about illegal immigrants? Are they counted? There's a number of factors that I kind of wondered about. And I thought this was interesting. The probability of having one of these 3 is 63%, and I do believe that's accurate. I do believe that we are one of the greater nations with obesity problems, myself included. I do have high blood pressure. I am overweight, but at the moment I'm doing the keto diet, changing the way of life. So hopefully the obesity gone and the high blood pressure gone. So we'll see. But I do not have type 2 diabetes. So I am one of the 16.1%. So, but I would like to do a little bit more background research on this subject here. Okay, number 4. Don't ask what happened to number 4. I've done this report 3 times from scratch. Every time I do it, number 4 off centers. I don't know what is going on. I can't move it. It messes all the data up. Here, however, we are comparing Army recruit and mall shoppers. I felt on this one, in the Army, you have to meet certain criteria to be eligible. A lot of people are not eligible. And, like it or not, face the fact, the majority of the recruits are young adult males. So this is going to kind of put them in a little tighter knit group. Whereas at the mall, you've got children, for age 3 up to 95 years old. So you have a wider variety of people in your group with the mall shoppers. In the box and whisker charts, it's a little easier to see because the range is wider with the mall shoppers than with it is the Army recruits. But I felt like this one was just, you know, this group here is more restricted than this group, which is obvious when you look at the charts. Okay, let me go back over to the side everything's supposed to be on. All right, the sleep students, sleep study for the university students, which our mean is 6.7 hours. And this is another one. I wonder where they got their data. I mean, I'm sure it's accurate, but you know, you hear of college students not sleeping very much. You know, the young crowd, definitely not me. I sleep plenty, probably more than my fair share. But it was interesting to make this chart and see the differences in it, in the sleep patterns. As far as the income levels in this chart that we copied and pasted, one thing this has got me to wanting to do is taking people I know and making a chart of my own just to see them not in the, you know, in the same area, in the same field, where these families come from. Like I stated in my report, I'm wondering, since there is such a big jump here, if they weren't in a certain type subdivision or area, geographical area, and didn't jump to another part, or, you know, bleed over into another area, and that's what gave us the big jump down here. Okay, and this is number 5. Let's see, and number 6, profit according to sales. I think business is about one of the hardest industries to go into, to open your own business. You have to be able to swallow a lot the first year or two before you can make it. As we see here, you know, there's upfront cost. So without selling anything, he's already in the hole, $12,000, and has to make 203 sales before he ever sees a dime of profit. That's rough. Unless you have a product that goes like hotcakes in a week or two, it is not easy, I'm sure. But these were some very interesting charts that we made. I didn't realize that you could do a lot of things like this. I knew they were there, but didn't necessarily know how to use them. And I have several things I think at work that I want to try and use these with, and we'll let you know how they turn out. Anyway, this is my project, my video for this time, and hopefully all this comes out right and I don't have to do it again. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see if I can get this to stop.